Good evening. I would like to call to order the Keizer City Council in regular session. It is Monday, April 1st, 2024, and ask our city recorder to please call roll.
Councilor Reed?
Here.
Councilor Hussman?
Councilor Hussman is excused this evening.
Councilor Kohler?
Here.
Mayor Clark?
Here.
Council President Starr?
Here.
Councilor Duran?
Here.
Councilor Cross?
Here.
And Youth Councilor Woodard?
And Youth Councilor Woodard is also excused this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. If you are able, I invite you to rise and invite all of you to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all on this beautiful April 1st evening. My day started when a little game I play online decided to put all the clues backwards this morning for April 1st to see if those of us who were getting on early were awake. So I hope you had an equally entertaining day. With that, we will now go to our special orders of business. First up is our National Child Abuse Prevention Month proclamation. Kyle Tar, yes, you are here. So I would invite you to come up and talk to us about Child Abuse Prevention Month, and then I will read the proclamation and present a copy to you to take with you, and one will be on display here at City Hall. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you, Mayor, councilors. We really appreciate this opportunity to share about our passion. April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and with the proclamation, you'll learn a little bit more about the statistics. In 2022, there were 10,711 unduplicated victims of child abuse and neglect in all of Oregon. And of those unduplicated victims, there were 1,098 children in Marion County. And of those total children in all of Oregon, 41.6% were age 5 years or younger. So that really just kind of reinforces we're talking about our most vulnerable populations. So in April, every year, it's National Child Abuse Prevention Month. So we have all different types of activities. Our Marion County Child Abuse Prevention Committee brings together all of our community partners. So I'm here representing our Marion County Child Abuse Committee, which also involves Boys and Girls Club, Family Building Blocks, CASA, Marion and Polk Early Learning Hub, a lot of different organizations. We also have representation from law enforcement on the committee as well. This Friday, on April 5th, we'll be having a car parade to kick off Child Abuse Prevention Month. So it's just a great way for community members to take part. We do have information on parentforthefuture.org. There's information about that car parade, other community displays and activities that will be going on throughout April. You can also learn more about the different organizations that are involved. So prevention, it takes many different forms. Prevention is something where, it's important to recognize the importance of parents, of caregivers, teachers, coaches, mentors, safe adults. Some children may have that in their own home. Some children may not. So we all play a role in helping keep children safe. And prevention is something too, just enjoying that time that we spend together with the children in our lives. We can also learn more about how to talk to children about difficult topics, like sex, like child safety, abuse prevention. Talking about boundaries at Union Street Bridge and the Woodburn overpass. Salem PD, their lights will be lit up blue for the first week of April. We'll have a pinwheel garden as well at the Marion County Courthouse. So just a lot of different opportunities for people to, to learn more about child abuse and learn more about the role that we all play to help keep kids safe. So I really appreciate this opportunity.
Well, thank you, and thank you for the work that Liberty House does in this partnership throughout our community to end and prevent child abuse in our area, and hopefully even beyond. Any questions for Kyle? All right, it is my pleasure then to issue this proclamation, which reads as follows. Whereas every child deserves to live in a safe, loving, and caring family environment. And whereas in 2022, there were 10,711 reported victims of child abuse and neglect in Oregon, of which 1,098 were victims in Marion County. And whereas we stand together as individuals, organizations, and government agencies to commit to preventing child abuse by raising awareness throughout our community and by educating and supporting parents and caregivers. And whereas we affirm that strong families and safe, stable, and nurturing environments free from violence, abuse, and neglect are essential for children's optimal growth and success. And whereas the people of Keizer believe in and work for ensuring a secure future where the needs of children are a priority and the needs of families are met. And whereas we are thankful for the many Keizer volunteers, organizations, and service providers that work together every day to take action to support families and children and protect the well-being of our children. Now, therefore, I, Kathy Clark, Mayor of the City of Keizer, together with the Keizer City Council assembled in regular session, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2024 as Child Abuse Prevention Month, and ask all the people of Keizer to commit to continuing our action and advocacy for protecting our children. I'll present one to you. Thank you for your work.
Thank you, Mayor, Council President, Councilors. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Liberty House, everybody. One of the groups we recognized in that first proclamation were volunteers, and it is my pleasure now to invite up Corey Filardo for our volunteer recognition presentation and proclamation. Corey, if you want to introduce it, and I will read the proclamation and I will issue a copy for you to take back to the chamber, which is one of our pride, spirit, and volunteerism models here in Keizer.
Absolutely. Thanks for welcoming me. I'm Corey Filardo, and I am the chair of the Volunteer Coordinating Committee. And I'd like to point out a couple of my committee fellow members. We have Emerson Carrillo and Leslie Reiswick. And we are here tonight to thank you guys for what you do for our city as volunteer council and mayor. You are volunteering countless hours of your life, and we appreciate everything you do for us as the constituents and the people that live in Keizer. And I think us that sit on the committee are also grateful for you because you've chosen us to speak and think for you when it comes to choosing the volunteers that serve the city. And I think we're very appreciative of that honor that we get to represent you. So we appreciate that, and thank you for all you do for us.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Appreciate you being here tonight and all of you for being on a volunteer coordinating committee with all of the people that work so hard to make this city happen. And it is truly appropriate to issue this proclamation, which reads as follows. Whereas the city of Keizer has built a strong community through a foundation of volunteerism, and whereas upon incorporation in 1982, the motto was adopted, Pride, Spirit, and Volunteerism, which describes our way of life. And whereas many residents of this community contribute to the well-being and welfare of all our people by giving tirelessly of their time, resources, and energy. And whereas many volunteers assist the city of Keizer in performing a multitude of duties, often providing services that might otherwise be reduced or non-existent. And whereas many of our volunteers serve through city government, on city council, boards, commissions, and task forces. And whereas our city's greatest resource is our people who are dedicated to the betterment of our community. And whereas the city of Keizer values each and every one of our many volunteers and wish to extend our deepest appreciation to all. Now therefore, I, Kathy Clark, Mayor of the City of Keizer, together with the Keizer City Council assembled here in regular session, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2024 as Volunteer Recognition Month. I have a copy for you.
And since the Easter Bunny couldn't get in yesterday, he left some cookies for you guys on the back counter. And that's just in appreciation for all you do. Please grab a cookie.
Volunteer coordinating committee members? Yes. You know, it's how we're just real, you know? Yeah.
Okay, volunteer, yay. That's it?
That's it. Thank you. Appreciate you. Appreciate you guys so much. Thank you. So that concludes our special orders of business, and we're going to go to committee reports, and they're all being given by, you guessed it, volunteers. So if you are here and you serve on a committee, commission, board, in a volunteer capacity for the city of Keizer, would you please stand so we can recognize you? Thank you all so much. And Peggy, I saw you sitting back there, but you should be standing too with our beautiful community gardens. Peggy Moore is here with the Jerry and Peggy Moore Garden as well. So many volunteers make wonderful work. So we will go to committee reports, and I have Kat Torreson from KPAC. It's good to see you.
Hi, everybody. Okay, I'm going to just briefly read an overview of our notes, and I have 9 items. The first one was that I was elected as chair. And Kim Steen is going to be the vice chair. So let's see, we started with discussing the strategic plan and how KPAC ties in with that and how we can contribute overall to making this a healthy community. We talked about safety and support of services and how this has relevance to the Arts Commission. We specifically talked about mitigation of like vandalized or damaged artwork. So the commission would want to be informed if any public art has been damaged, tagged, or defaced. Lori Christopher suggested providing feedback with the strategic plan. So each of us on KPAC are going to look over the strategic plan and write notes. We understand that nothing can be changed right now, but we'd like to know sort of our role in each of the points on that.
Well, I'm gonna press pause though. Yes, this is not adopted yet.
Oh, okay.
So please do get those comments set in. We'd appreciate it.
Great. Yeah, I saw lots of opportunity where we could tie in to be more of an active community. I mean, when we're just talking about like volunteer and preventing child abuse, I was a former art teacher for a long time in Montana, but definitely the arts was a voice for a lot of those kids. And I think it's a really healthy place for children to be. Okay, good. We will do that. Let's see. The commission also reviewed pieces submitted for display prior to the meeting, and so we moved to accept Joel Nickel for the April and May display for the galleries that we have. And then next we talked about the budget. So the budget was discussed along with the need to apply the annual sealant for the story poles and the Sasquatch out there. and they needed a 24-foot lift to reach the story poles. The lift costs $500 per day and $200 to be delivered. The city manager, Adam Brown, would look into any lift contracts that the city may have. And then he also stated that the box wrap art had city and printing costs and would have additional installation costs for approximate total of $500, which I think has changed. So if for those of you who don't know that, we're working on doing some wraps around the utility boxes here at the stoplights in the city, mostly along River Road. And so we have that open right now, call to artists. And each artist for those wraps, utility box, would receive $200 as artist's fee. The commission discussed an upcoming budget for the next year and how the funds would be spent. So we talked about having QR codes for the artwork. The QR codes would take folks to the Keizer Community Foundation, which is housing, their website houses all of the artwork that we have throughout the city. We had a quick discussion about who posts information on non-city websites. For example, pointing, like if you had a QR code and you scanned a piece of artwork to learn more about it, if it took you to Instagram page that we couldn't potentially like monitor at all times for appropriate content. So, so then we talked about maybe having somebody from that foundation on the Arts Commission. So we've been working on that, on recruiting folks. And Kim Steen is currently applying to serve on that foundation, so that would be good. So we moved for the motion requesting the same budget amount of $6,000 to include $1,000 for art preservation of the wood art, $2,000 for the utility box art, for approximately 4 utility boxes, which again may have changed due to our most recent quotes. $2,000 for additional statue on River Road and or a mural to wrap around the bathroom walls at the Keizer Rapids Turf Field. $700 to purchase art for the Civic Center, and $300 for the holiday card contest. And that passed. Then we had a discussion a little bit about the Native American art that we've had in October, November. And Chamois since has lost their art program, so we're struggling a little bit with trying to find that. So I am reaching out to Grand Ronde tribes and see if we could use some of their art collection. Also, we have some printed photographs of some murals at the Chamois Indian School that we have as sort of a standing art display. But we're looking into that. So we also talked about extending it, the art displays from 2 months to 3 months, and that was standard. So we won't be changing art out so often. Let's see. Oh, I'm redoing the brochure. So if you have remember that brochure, it is a front and back brochure, six panels, and it houses or highlights each of the pieces of artwork. And although I haven't been here, but from my understanding that there used to be sort of an art walk, and so we talked about maybe reviving that art walk in May. So to have a walking art map on the back, since we have those new artwork, Rosalie's cows up there. So I'm working on that, and that's also where the QR codes would play in. City Manager Adam Brown agreed that the brochure art could be on the city's website. And then our last item is that Adam Brown provided a mock-up sign by artist Rick Smith for the proposed backdrop of the city right behind y'all. Yes. Discussion ensued about the design, the font, the color, and that it would be lightweight to attach to the drywall so that folks could see it when it's being recorded. So we had a discussion about that, and then when there was a consensus to receive 1 or 2 more mock-ups. So we wanted to make sure that we're tying it in really closely with the existing Keizer logo with the colors and the font, but The font was actually created by the graphic artist, and it isn't an existing font, so we're having some difficulty with that. So more to come on that. Oh, okay, and then I guess the last thing was that, if none of the 2023 entries for the, holiday card, if we don't receive any, that we would move to accept, entrants from last year. And that is it. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer, Laura can.
Thank you very much. That was very comprehensive. Yeah, I was looking at the indoor gallery and art walk map, which is on the city website. So, it's on the City of Keizer website, and so I think a lot of that work sounds like it's already here, just maybe adding the roundabout. So that would be awesome to have. Council President Starr?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was furiously writing notes and I think I missed a few things. So if I can just ask a couple of clarifying questions. You talked about a QR code for something that pointed to, I thought you said the Keizer Community Foundation. Can you clarify what I heard? Because I
Yeah.
don't think I heard it correctly.
You probably heard the confusion, because I'm also somewhat confused, and so I'm learning. Each of the art pieces that are around, and jump in, Laura, anytime, will have a QR code that will point them to the foundation. And then the foundation will have like an artist statement, of that piece on their site. And as well as, and tie back to the brochure that's on the Keizer government site.
Follow up.
Right? Yeah, because I'm really confused too.
So is that art that was purchased through KPAC? I guess I'm confused, like what is the QR code for? And why is it going to the Keizer Community Foundation if that art is under KPAC? I just am not seeing the connection between KPAC, the city, and then the QR code and what that's for to Keizer Community Foundation.
Yeah, and Laura, maybe you have some background information.
Yes,
Okay, so
please.
this was definitely part of the conversation, and I brought this up, why are we having this non-city entity providing information about our city resources? And basically, part of it is because the Keizer Community Foundation provided some funds for some of that public art, and so the information is kind of there already. But definitely we were trying to figure out how to make that more under the city's purview rather than the community foundation's purview, letting it reflect the partnership that now exists between the Keizer Public Arts Commission and the Community Foundation. And so that's where we sort of left that is, we need to clarify this. And so, that's part of that discussion.
I'm sorry.
Follow up.
Is there some kind of an MOU then between the city, KPAC, and the Keizer Community Foundation?
And you guys can help me out with this in terms of those legalities, but for right now, it's mostly sorry.
Mr. Lindsay, I think, has the answer.
Well, I'm not aware of one. That's not terribly helpful, but
No, that's very helpful.
And
Thank you.
certainly, yeah, and as far as I know, it hasn't been that formalized, but the biggest example is when we purchased the Cold Wet Eagle. Part of that Cold Wet Eagle funding came from the Community Foundation.
Did any money to purchase the Cold Wet Eagle come from the city?
Yes.
So I'm just curious
Yeah.
what the decision-making criteria and factors went into having the Community Foundation hold a QR code, and what is that QR code for? Just for information?
So far, yes, as Kat said, just the artist information and some information about the piece. One of the conversations was making sure that we had a link to the city, to a place in the city webpage that also had this. So, yeah.
I just
I brought it up. It is in discussion.
I appreciate that, and I have there's just a lot
Yes.
of big question marks there for
Yeah,
me,
we
so.
actually thought it was a good buffer, actually, if it was pointing directly to
That-
our
yeah, and that
sites,
was
like
part
an
of it.
artist's, website or Instagram account was coming directly from the city site, then we wouldn't have the, resources to monitor that all the time, right?
So,
Still befuddled, but thank you. for-
Okay, and I apologize, I'm not.
no,
that-
and that's not your fault.
It's a work in progress.
yes.
Yeah, it's a work
It's
in
because of
progress,
that.
and these are exactly the questions that came up in the discussion.
Perfect.
And then,
So-
let's see, I had more, but that's okay.
Well, let me circle on one thing and then I can come back to you. So, yeah, the art walk is on the City of Keizer website, so it's already there. Keizer Points of Interest, we used to have a brochure that took us to the point of interest and the art, it was all one map. Debbie Lockhart had created that, so building on that work, again, pointing back to the city. And based on what I'm hearing from everybody is that working on bringing this into a cohesive, city-based platform is a work in progress. Yes? Mr. Brown?
I think that's the right summary for it. It's, the main goal is get everything in a central location. Like, some of the discussion at the KPAC meeting was around, art is very subjective, and some art is disagreeable to others than some. So the thought that hosting at the cultural center's website might be a good buffer, but regardless, the goal is to have all of the city's artwork at a central website so that it can be followed, and the QR code would just lead to wherever that site is, whether it's on the city page or the cultural center or foundation.
Community Foundation.
Thank you.
Right, right. And we definitely have community partners, as far as our art and cultural activities go. There's always been that. I think with KPAC, it is a city committee and commission. And, bringing the clarity to this and the city focus sounds like a good move forward.
Just
Counselor Reed, and I'll come back to Counselor Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
President
And just to clarify too, one of the important elements of resolving this is getting somebody on both boards so that we have that bridge. So Kim Steen is going to be on both. And so just that point of communication at least is a good first step.
I know.
Can I ask a quick clarifying question about that? So that would
Councilmember
put
Starr.
2 of the KPAC members on the Keizer Community Foundation, yes? Because when I look at the Keizer Public Art Commission roster, and then I look at the Keizer Community Foundation board member roster, you already have 1 member from KPAC, and so Kim would be 2, at least according to the rosters that are posted on the website.
Looking at this now,
Yeah, that would be 2. So anyway, thank you for bringing this to our attention, and I appreciate the attention to get this. It's like a lot of things that we're picking up right now is bringing up to 2024, clarifying and streamlining some practices that have needed some work for quite some time. It sounds like this is one of them. So we look forward to bringing it under the city entirely. Councilor Reed.
Ms. Bissett, if you could make sure that, to forward to Dawn, that we need to make sure to have this on the next agenda, that would be helpful too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
One more, sorry.
That's okay.
What budget passed? Because you were talking about amounts in a budget, and was that the approval of the request that KPAC is going to make for the budget season?
Yeah, Lori, Christopher moved a motion requesting the same budget amount of $6,000.
Okay, great, thank you.
Did you have a follow-up?
And just broke that down into
Yeah.
its
Right,
elements.
all the elements, okay.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you for your patience with all the questions, and congratulations on being chair. And I appreciate you willing to step up and volunteer for that work. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. I don't have anybody else signed up for a committee report tonight. Oh, Tammy Saldivar for Traffic Safety Bike Ped. That's okay. I got you.
Tammy Saldivar, Chair of the Traffic Safety Bikeways and
Is it on?
Pedestrian. Is it on? I'm just not close enough,
There we
sorry.
go.
Tammy Saldivar, Chair for Traffic Safety Bikeways and Pedestrians. I'm just going to run you through a few of our highlights from the last meeting. First, we had Shani Starr, not wearing her counselor hat, came and brought to our attention several safety issues in the Country Glen neighborhood, which we had a good discussion about. Keizer Station and the roundabout at Verda. She recommends more pedestrian safety, which is a reoccurring theme at our meetings that we very often hear about. So in conclusion of our discussion, I recommended that we do some speed studies on the River Road and Country Glen area through our law enforcement to see what's happening out there and then have a better discussion and understanding. And as far as Keizer Station, I suggest we invite the planning director to come talk to us to answer some questions and give some clarity there as well. So you'll be hearing from me with an invitation. And then we learned that placards were placed on the roundabout to help slow folks down. I haven't been through there to see, but as of our committee meeting date, he said the next day they were getting put up for 20 miles an hour. Yes, they have been up. Okay, excellent. Are we seeing any changes? I know it's been like a week. Okay, we'll keep an eye on that one. Rob Witters and Rhonda Rich came to give us feedback on the speed table and flashing signs that were put in their neighborhood near Shoreline. I know they had talked about it previously, but I asked to put on record for our spreadsheet that we're tracking all the projects to make sure that we close the loop several months past the completion of the project so that we can understand if what we're requesting is showing positive feedback. It was brought up by Ms. Rich that for the neighborhood traffic management plan, if the data through the assessment doesn't show the need for, she recommended a speed sign, that we don't have them walk away empty-handed, that maybe alternatives can be offered in place of the request that is being made. And that brought us to the discussion of street art. I suggested that might be an option that is not something the city needs to pay for, but we can work through our new concept, which came later in our discussion as well. We discussed on the project spreadsheet, as I mentioned, Lock Haven Northeast. We've talked about putting in bike lanes on both sides to the east of River Road. So by the Wearmart area, that way. And we actually moved for a motion to ask City Council to request a traffic study to look into having these bike lanes painted.
They're there.
No, they're not.
Mr. Lawyer, we have bike lanes.
There are existing bike lanes there. The committee is recommending an alteration to the existing striping and a study to look at that their recommendation and the implementation of that recommendation.
Gotcha, thank you.
I'm glad you were able to explain that better than I could. So how does that work that we are requesting that? Okay. Another motion that was passed was for a request for City Council to do a study of installing a sidewalk on the north side of Keizer Road from Verda to the existing sidewalk. So we kind of want to just get that area looked at, knowing that Verda is going to be increasingly getting pedestrian traffic.
You're talking about the section across from Verda Crossing? Or no, you're talking about Keizer Road?
Sorry, north side of Keizer Road, yes,
North
from
side of
Verda
Keizer
to the
Road, gotcha.
sidewalk. We want to understand more about what kind of foot traffic there is, and can we get looked at, like what it would actually entail to
Right.
put in a sidewalk? Do we have the right of way? What kind of costs are we talking? I know stormwater's an issue, so if you can give us some feedback on this, we can have a clearer message when it comes to our attention. So requesting that. And our last request, we move to recommend City Council look at the proper flow for cyclists at River Road and Chamawa going westbound. Because as of right now, the bike lane kind of just stops when it becomes a turn lane to go north. And then they have to cross over to then continue through the intersection. And it's a very dangerous scenario.
Right,
Are we following? Okay.
okay, yeah.
So those are the three motions we are requesting while I'm here. Moving on then, we're going to start, if this works, putting some of the major projects that are happening in our area, possibly just on our website that each of us monitors. Let me word this differently. I suggested each of us do homework, find projects in the area that we'd each want to adopt, and then come forward each meeting with updates on what's happening, if there's something to report. For example, the turf fields, or Aurora Donald Interchange, or the Verta project, so that when people come and ask us questions about things happening in the area, at least one of us has an understanding of what that is.
I love it.
So we're going to hopefully move forward with that. That led us to the street art concept. I suggested one of us adopts and champions this effort to see what it entail. I know several organizations around town are talking about this already with ideas. So I'm hoping that we can combine the ideas to come forth with a suggestion to see if it will work for the city. And there's other cities around that have some already implemented that are excellent that we can hopefully pull ideas from. So several of us are going to be involved with that. Mike de Blasi requested we look at a timing. He would like a timing change at the River Road intersections by schools and maybe Chamawa. He mentioned a few intersections where he suggests we see if allowing pedestrians to start to cross the street before the light turns green to give them time to get into the intersection before a turning car could potentially hit them because they don't see them. This is something that exists elsewhere, and we're looking more into that.
And we've already done, we have a proof of concept at River Road and San Market Way. We've
Okay,
done
that was brought up, and we didn't know
Yeah,
more about
you
that.
get a head start crossing. We made that change a few years ago because of a crash.
Okay, so we'll pull from that and see if there's other locations that we recommend you looking at that. And then we got a report from David Philbrick on Salem Bike Vision Meeting, where some of the main suggestions were the bike committee to review strategic plans and road improvements ahead of those happening. We'll see if that's something that would fit our city or not. More to come as we learn more about that. Lastly, it looks like Tammy Kuntz requested that the spreadsheet the public have access to the spreadsheet of our projects. And if some of you don't know what I'm talking about, we've combined into a workbook all the projects that have been brought to our attention so that we can document that we are addressing them, what the outcome is, and whether they're moving forward or if we're just monitoring the situation. So we have active projects that we discuss every month. We have closed projects, the ones that we've completed that we know to keep an eye on, and then we have a tab for anything that's outside of our scope that's brought to our attention so that if it continues back around, we at least can say that we have a record of that. Lastly, I asked was there a traffic study done for the turf fields that are being constructed to know what to expect? And Councilor Husband said he would bring this to your attention and report back. So if you do that behind the scenes, I look forward to an answer to know what that was, or you can just tell me right now.
I don't have it. So I'm gonna start at the top. There were 3 recommendations for, that the Traffic Safety Bike Ped Committee has asked, City Council to, move forward with finding out more information. So, Mr. Brown, Mr. Lawyer, can I refer those 3 items to you to see what information would be helpful for us moving forward on those? Mr. Lawyer?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I will look at each of those and get estimated cost to perform those studies and those activities and report back to the council with some answers.
Thank you, appreciate that. Turf field question,
We did not do any studies in the planning of it. I would only point back to the Parks Master Plan. I don't know at that time what it was done, but one of the considerations that the committee, the volunteer turf field committee strongly worked on is that the access for the turf field to be right on Chamawa so that it didn't bring traffic in to take over the parking for the big toy or for the tennis courts, dog runs and the future improvements to the rest of the park. So that was the committee's desire, and that's what got implemented into the design we have, so that none of the athlete traffic and parents and grandparents and stuff would have to go into Keizer Rapids Park. They can enter from Shamawa and then exit there.
And then there's also ongoing conversation with Chariots regarding the extension of Route 14 down there as well. So that conversation is in progress. And what that looks like, you know, how it can happen in terms of not just physical logistics, you know, the turnaround for the 40-foot buses, but also reconfiguring the routes. And this is something that Chariots is very interested in pursuing, especially with the development of the turf fields. And I'm looking at our chamber folks, also with the upcoming Keizer Fest. Also, people would be able to use transit to get down there as well. So there's a winner all across, and of course, our concerts and other events would be served by transit. So that conversation is progressing. So look forward to that one, going with a route change at some point. But that conversation is going between Mr. Brown and Mr. Pollock, Ellen Pollock at Transit. But that would be a fantastic addition. Also, it would allow for service to the Four Winds neighborhood, which currently does not have service. Because the last bus stop is at River Road and Windsor Island. Not River Road, I'm sorry, Chamawa and Windsor Island. And then it turns. Well, that whole neighborhood's not served. So it's a tremendous opportunity to add service also for Four Winds, which is a large, heavily populated neighborhood. So, wanted to let you know about that. Anything else that we need to deal with at this point? Any questions or comments from council? Thank you so much. Really appreciate the great work. I'm looking forward to, just to point out to everybody, we will be doing a work session with Traffic Safety Bike Ped on the next iteration of the Neighborhood Traffic Management Program. So we've had one work session on that, bringing it back for work sessions so we can polish it up. And this is another instance where we're bringing something that was very, very old and outdated up to 2024. Thank you so much. All right, any other committee reports tonight? All right, we're good. Thank you very much. Public comment this time is provided to allow citizens to address the council on any matters other than those on the agenda scheduled for public hearing. We have 3 public hearings: the resolution authorization for supplemental budget, water fund purchase of the 2024 Ford F-150 truck for Public Works. Number 2 is 7B is the Oregon Liquor and Cannabis Commission application, change of ownership by Bua Thai Kitchen. And item 7C, which is the Oregon Liquor and Cannabis Commission application, Mesa del Rincon Cerveceria y Taproom LLC. So if you're here for that, stand by. So I would open the floor for public comment, and I have one group signed up, and that is our esteemed Chamber of Commerce. Corey Filato.
I'm here all night, folks.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing going on. I mean,
Not at
seriously,
all.
right? No.
Well, once again, my name's Corey Filardo, and I am the Executive Director at the Keizer Chamber. And real quick, before I get started, I wanted to give a warm, heartfelt thank you to Mr. Bill Lawyer for fixing my front yard. I really appreciate you and want to publicly thank you for that. Yes. Well, to get started, I wanted to make sure that everybody knows that we are moving the Keizer Fest Parade back to May, and we are going to have somewhat of an Iris celebration all May. So everyone in Keizer should be really excited that we're bringing that tradition and celebration back. I'm going to start with the mayor's prayer breakfast happening on May 2nd. The doors will be open about 7:15. Breakfast will be served at 7:30, and Mayor Kathy Clark, myself, and a couple other folks will be planning this for a wonderful breakfast and inspiration of prayers and loving words from the community, pastors and people in leadership. So we hope that you will go register on our website and join us for that breakfast. And then that very same evening, we have our Percy auction event. Yep, I brought one too. Ladies, this is typically for ladies. Sorry, Chief. Oh, wait. Chief, you're going to be our host that evening, isn't that right? That's right. So ladies, go register. It's $45 for a ticket, or you can buy your own table for you and 7 of your besties. Or if you're interested in sponsoring a table for one of the schools, you can bring 8 teachers from one of our 10 schools there for free on you and show them a good evening. The purpose of this auction is to raise funds for our holiday giving basket program, which happens in December. And we are aware that's several months from now, but we like to get the hard work out of the way now to raise all that money. So we are looking at probably needing to raise around $40,000 to make sure that that can happen. So we really need the community's support. If you're not able to attend, we'd love you to maybe donate a basket or a ticket for somebody else to attend. So yeah, go to our website and get registered. We'd love to have you. And there's also other ways that you can sponsor, and all that information is on our website at keizerchamber.com. And then we're gonna go down to, let's see, May 17th, where we'll have our Bloom and Iris Open Golf Tournament, which is a partner event for that Percy auction. More men will come out to that and play golf for the day, and we show them a good time at the golf tournament, and that event will raise around $5,000 for the giving baskets. We ask businesses to come out and host tee boxes, and they'll give out swag and business information. And we'll have a sponsor for the golf tournament itself, which is still open. If you're interested in being the title sponsor, we'd love to hear from you. Businesses or nonprofits can host. And you don't have to be a chamber member to be a sponsor, so we'd love to hear from you if you're interested. But yeah, you can register on our website for that as well, and it will be May 17th, shotgun start at 10 a.m. You can come hang out and have breakfast in the club starting at 8:30, and we'll get that golf tournament started off right away at 10 a.m. And then there's a raffle basket party to follow with a cheeseburger dinner afterwards. And that's all included with the price of registration. And so we've turned that weekend, the 17th through the 19th, kind of into a Bloom and Iris days. So you'll then follow with the 18th, and you'll have the Bloom and Iris Day Parade, which starts at 10:30 in the morning, and it'll follow the regular route down River Road. And it's going to be combined with our annual Keizer Fest event, but we're kind of spreading out Keizer Fest throughout the summer so that there's more opportunities to get involved in the community. So the parade will be in May on the 18th. And in honor of Mount St. Helens blowing her top, we're calling it Shake, Rattle, and Roll. So folks can decorate their floats in any way that they'd see fit. Be creative, have fun with it. And then something new that we're adding to this so that all the firefighters and staff at the fire department can be home on Mother's Day. We are adding the fireman's breakfast on Sunday into the Iris Days. So you can come to the fire department, have a breakfast starting at 7:30 in the morning. And I know they're looking for volunteers, and you can go sign up for volunteers on their website. But it's just a way to bring the community out and be involved and be together. I don't think I'm forgetting anything, but if I am, you can find all of that information at keizerchamber.com, or you can call us at 503-393-9111 and talk to us about it. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you so much, Corey. And if you did forget something, I would not blame you. There's a lot going on, but the chamber and all of our volunteers in the community that make our businesses successful. Thank you so much for leading that. Questions, and I'm sure all of us have all of these on our calendar. All right. Counselor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So the parade has Shake, Rattle, and Roll, but is there a theme for Keizer Fest altogether yet?
I think we're just gonna go with Keizer Fest and have it be a community festival called Keizer Fest.
Okay.
Yeah, don't take me for word, because we haven't decided as a committee yet, but that's what I see for the future.
And I appreciate the partnership with the Chamber of Commerce, working with Mr. Brown and our city staff on the site development and location at Keizer Rapids Park, especially knowing that we do have construction underway, but we all know the word of the day is flexibility, and we appreciate that. And it's only, I believe, going to make that venue even more successful for all the events in that area. So really appreciate that. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else would like to address the council for a public comment? All right, let's go to public hearings. I'd like to open a public hearing on resolution authorization for supplemental budget water fund purchase 2024 Ford F-150 truck for public works. Goes to Mr. Wood.
Madam Mayor, City Council, at the March 18th, 2024 regular City Council meeting, the council authorized the city manager to purchase a 2024 Ford F-150 pickup truck for the Public Works Department. This is to replace a vehicle that was involved in an accident. This supplemental budget is to get the dollars into the correct buckets, to recognize the insurance proceeds of $24,100 and then transfer from contingency to capital outlay $27,400. Simple as that, and I'd be happy to address any questions.
Thank you very much, Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Wood, so you have received then the insurance proceeds and you know the exact amount of money, or is that potentially going to change?
We have received insurance proceeds, yes.
Okay, anything further? All right, I do not have anybody signed up for this, this issue. Is there anybody here who would like to address the council on this matter? Seeing none, further questions from City Council before we put a motion on the table? All right, seeing none, public hearing is now closed. Council President Starr.
I move the Keizer City Council adopt resolution R2024, authorization for supplemental budget water fund purchase of a 2024 Ford F-150 truck for public works.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council will adopt resolution R 2024, authorization for supplemental budget water fund purchase 2024 Ford F-150 truck for public works. Discussion? Councilor Cross.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Where is this truck being purchased from? Is this from a local dealership?
This is through the state purchasing contracts.
So where?
I believe it's out of Portland.
Mr. Lawyer?
It's from Northside Ford in Portland.
Okay. And this is one of a number of companies that are under the state contract, is that correct?
That is correct.
Do we have any Salem Keizer that are under contract?
Not that I'm aware of. For no brands. The only brand, I'm not even sure that the Dodge pickup is on the state contract through the local Dodge dealer. But the Fords and the Chevys are not on state contract with local dealers.
I would follow up. Thank you, Mr. Lair. When was the last time we looked into it?
Through the purchase of this pickup,
So we looked locally for this?
we looked at the state contract dealers, yes.
Thank you.
And I believe the state puts out contract opportunities for companies to be able to be part of the state contracting. Is that correct?
That is correct. I don't honestly know how often that is put out, I will say. But historically, for a number of years, the vehicles that we purchased were from Landmark Ford, and this time it's through Northside Ford. And I honestly don't know why, if it's an availability issue or for whatever reason, the price. I'm not really sure why Northside had it this time instead of Landmark, but that's the dealer that was on the list, so.
Okay. And just a note for Mr. Lindsay, when we do our procurement discussion, maybe talk about the development of these state contracts, so we understand how that works.
Absolutely.
Thank you, appreciate that. Anything further? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously. That takes us to item 7B, which is the Oregon Liquor and Cannabis Commission, OLCC application, change of ownership by Bua Thai Kitchen. Public hearing is now open, and this goes to Ms. Bissett.
All right, the city received an application for a change of ownership for the liquor license for Baibua Thai Kitchen located at 5133 River Road North. And our ordinance requires that a public hearing is scheduled, and so we scheduled that for this evening. Notice was published and mailed out. The Keizer Police Department conducted a background check on the applicant, and they have no reason to recommend denial of the application. Planning Department also finds that the establishment is properly zoned and has no additional comments for their application.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions from council? All right, I do not have anybody signed up for the public hearing. Is there anyone here from Baibua or anyone here who would like to comment on this application for change of ownership and liquor license? Okay, seeing none. Anything further before I close the public hearing? Council? Public hearing is now closed. Council President Starr.
I move the Keizer City Council recommend approval of the application for a change of ownership for the liquor license for Baibua under the guidelines as established by ORS 471.175 and the ordinances of the city of Keizer.
Second?
Get the right language here. Can you pop that in my direction? Thank you. It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council recommend approval of the application for a change of ownership for the liquor license for Baibua under the guidelines as established by ORS 471.175 and the ordinances of the city of Keizer. Anything further for discussion? Thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent, that is Hussman. All right, that takes us to item 7C, which is Oregon Liquor and Cannabis Commission OLCC application, Mesa del Rincon, Cerveceria and Taproom LLC. Ms. Bissett.
The city received an application for a new outlet, limited on-premises liquor license for Mesa del Rincon Cerveceria y Taproom, LLC, located at 5137 River Road North. So as required by our ordinance, a public hearing was scheduled for this evening and noticed. It was mailed to all property owners and the Northwest Keizer Neighborhood Association. The police department conducted a background check on the applicant. They have no reason to recommend denial, and the planning department also reviewed it and had no additional comments.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any questions from council on the ordinance or the, the recommendation or the report? Seeing none. I do not have anybody signed up to testify this evening. Is there anyone here from Mesa del Rincon? Or, all right, we would invite you to come on down if you would introduce yourself. You're here. All right, well, thank you. We would welcome you to come and talk to us about your business if you would like, but we understand if you, yeah, come on down. Yeah. If you just state your name and your city of residence for the record, and please tell us about Mesa del Rincon.
Moises Mendoza, a resident of Salem, Oregon. Mesa Rincon is going to be a small tap room here in Keizer, aimed for the Hispanic community to gather around in small groups and listen to traditional Mexican music and enjoy traditional Mexican beer.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
So are you gonna be 7 day a week?
It'll be Wednesday through Sunday as of now, closed Mondays and Tuesdays. That is a plan right now.
All right. Well, thank you for bringing your business to Keizer. We appreciate that.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Anybody have questions? All right, thank you. Appreciate that. Anyone else like to testify under this public hearing? Council, any questions before I close the public hearing? Public hearing is now closed. Council President Starr.
I apologize in advance for my pronunciation. I move the Keizer City Council recommend approval of the application for a new outlet, limited on-premises liquor license for Mesa del Rincon Cerveceria y Taproom LLC under the guidelines established by ORS 471.175 and the ordinances of the city of Keizer.
Segundo?
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council recommend approval of the application for new outlet, limited on-premises liquor license for Mesa del Rincon Cerveceria and Taproom LLC under the guidelines as established by ORS 471.175 and the ordinances of the city of Keizer. You did fine. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent, that is Hussman. Thank you so much. We wish you the best. All right, that concludes our public hearings for this evening. We will go on now to administrative action, and the first on the agenda is the discussion regarding McNary High School speed zone. So we're going to get a map up here and receive a report on a discussion we had several meetings ago about the speed zones on Lock Haven with McNary and with Keizer Elementary. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
We appreciate moving these projects forward in discussion and
While we're getting this set up, I'll introduce myself again. I'm Scott Manser with DKS Associates, and our address is 117 Commercial Street, Northeast Salem, Oregon.
All right.
Just go right in.
Yes,
Right.
please do.
Thank you. So back on, I think it was the December 4th City Council meeting, the City Council approved an enhanced pedestrian crossing at the McClure Street School crossing that's associated with Keizer Elementary and McNary High School. And at that meeting, it was requested that we come back to you to evaluate taking that existing school speed zone. So as I look here, this is the current school speed flashing zone of 20 miles per hour. And it runs about 200 feet east and west of the McClure Street crossing. And so we went back, and you've seen the memo that we provided. So we evaluated to look at expanding the school speed zone 20 crossing to the east, to just right on to the east boundary of McNary High School. And so looking at that request, we went back and evaluated some guidance provided by the state. We looked at crash data along this area. And we also looked at some about kind of best practices on applying that school speed zone 20. And so what we found, one of the things we looked at is all of the high schools within the Salem Keizer School District. And currently, there's only one high school in Salem Keizer School District that has a school speed zone 20, and that's North Salem High School. And that school is actually right next to Parish Middle School. And they basically, their boundaries connect. And so the city of Salem had just went ahead and applied that 20 mile per hour school speed zone for the entire boundary. And so all the other schools, and pretty much the majority of the schools in Oregon, do not have a school speed zone. There are a couple of different schools out in rural areas that I am aware of that have school speed zone 20. So that was the first thing we looked at. One other I wanted to make note is if you actually drive around South Salem High School, you can see some old school speed zone 20 for South Salem. I actually talked to the city of Salem traffic engineer, Kevin Hotman, and he said that they did have a school speed zone there, but 2 years ago, and that was because the South Salem High School also housed the Howard Street Charter School. And so they did have younger students there. And when that school was relocated, as part of the past bond, that was relocated into downtown, they deactivated that school speed zone 20 mile per hour that is in the vicinity of South Salem. So there's a little bit of background about the high schools. Then we looked at the speed crash data along this frontage. And what we found is there was only, over the last 5 years of data that was available, there was only 6 crashes along the McNary frontage. and none of them were speed related, or the police found that speed was part of the contributing factor. And the other thing we looked at is just, we really want in that area where the school speed zone is in McClure, that's where we really want traffic to be going slow. That is where our vulnerable students are crossing, where we've basically signed and desire for them to cross in that location. And one of the concerns, kind of best practices, is to try and keep your school speed zone 20 as small as possible. Because the longer and wider you make those school speed zones, cars tend to slow down at the beginning, but then they start to speed up. And one of my concerns with having a much longer school speed zone is compliance, and cars not complying to that 20 mile per hour, because you're going from a 400-foot distance to almost nearly a half mile in that. And so based on our evaluation and kind of the best practices and what's applied in the Salem Keizer School District, I'm not recommending that we expand that school speed zone. Okay. And that's basically a general summary, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
All right, thank you very much. Questions? Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I noticed your report said that the crash was at the intersection of Newburgh Drive and it resulted in a serious injury. If it wasn't related to speed, what was it, like somebody trying to cross the street? What was, do we remember, do we know? Sorry, I know
No, that's right.
you
Yeah,
didn't respond to that, so, sorry.
Nope, thank you. I will. In that case, it was a crash with a pedestrian. However, it wasn't. It was the car was going. You know, if it was in the school speed zone or if it was in the speed, it wasn't traveling beyond the speed limit, I guess, is what the crash data had shown. And I don't know, Chief, if you recall that crash.
Thank you. Further questions? Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Really an observation of lived experience in that area, and that is during school hours with the, with so many high school kids driving. You'd be lucky to go 20 miles an hour anyway, during those peak times where people are coming and going. So, just throwing that out there too as an observation.
So there's a great deal of congestion during the, especially the drop off in the morning. Do we see the same thing at the PM peak?
The AM peak is definitely the worst peak. I spent several days out there observing both the morning and afternoon. The morning you have a much higher number of car drop off, whereas in your evening with sports and things, it's spread out a little bit more, so you don't have as large a concentration of traffic.
Yeah, which is kind of what I would expect, but the observation or the data is helpful there too. We're looking at what prompted some of this conversation was a study that indicated that a rapid flashing beacon at McClure appears to be indicated. Was that addressed in this, or we're just mostly looking at the extent of the school zone?
Yeah. If the question, I believe at the December 4th meeting, it was approved to move forward with the enhanced crossing and installing the push button activated rectangular rapid flashing beacon crossing at that location.
Okay, so that one's already in the works. Okay, so I've got an affirmative from Mr. Lawyer.
Yes.
Thank you. Anything further on this information? And if you come up with something later, as we're thinking about it, we can direct our questions to Mr. Brown and Mr. Lawyer for follow-up. So I would encourage us to go ahead and, take this information in and continue to think about it. And we really appreciate the work that went into this to bring us the data and the recommendation.
Yep. Thank you.
Right.
And Councilor Starr, I'll pull the crash data there and send that to
It's okay, thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. I just wanted to make sure we weren't missing something, since it was a pedestrian accident, that we needed to be looking at.
Thank you.
All right. All right, thank you very
Thank
much. Next up, we have the Greater Northeast Keizer Neighborhood Association Annual Report, and the report is in our packets for our reading pleasure, and I say that very sincerely. Tammy Kunz.
Hello, everybody. Tammy Kunz, Greater Northeast Keizer Neighborhood Association President.
All right.
I don't want to move that. Okay. Has everybody had a chance to look at my lengthy report? Any questions?
All right, Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So one thing that popped up is the success of your online meetings. And we've talked about this in the neighborhood association meetings before, just in making sure that you have a council liaison there, that it's posted as per public meetings law and all of those things. Because I've never known about any of those. And so, and I'm thrilled that they're happening and that you have that level of engagement. But just as a city entity, I would like to know about those a little bit more explicitly. And then again, the public meetings law is the other piece of that.
Right.
So, so that was my only comment, but thank you so much for all the work that you and Jackie do. You are exemplary in engaging the community and listening, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
That might be something, the link could go on to our city calendar, for, if you can get that information to Ms. Bissett, that could go on our calendar for people to know that there's two ways to engage with the neighborhood association, just a thought.
Okay.
But with that, I've just been really impressed with the level of, engagement and the detail in making sure that you are bringing organization and opportunities for involvement for so many people in the community, having goals, objectives, 2 to 4 year plan. I mean, that's your own strategic plan right there to continue to develop. And very quickly, you went from Northeast Keizer to Greater Northeast Keizer. And that was a pretty big leap in a very short period of time.
Yeah, just a little.
Council President Starr.
I move that Keizer City Council accept the report of the Greater Northeast Keizer Neighborhood Association and extend recognition to the Greater Northeast Keizer Neighborhood Association for an additional year.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council accept the report of the Greater Northeast Keizer Neighborhood Association and extend recognition to the Greater Northeast Keizer Neighborhood Association for an additional year. Any further discussion? Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So in your report, there's still kind of some question about budgeting and what is a reimbursable expense and so forth. And again, a huge thank you for all of the out-of-pocket, I think it was over $300 of out-of-pocket expenses that you have made. And just making sure that you're clear before you spend in terms of what is reimbursable and so forth. So just kind of fine-tuning those budget issues is what I would recommend.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you very much. Anything further? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent, that is Councilor Hessman. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we also look forward to our upcoming work session with all of our neighborhood associations next Monday night, April 8th, starting at 6 p.m. Thank you so much. That will now take us to item 8C, which is resolution authorizing the city manager to purchase license plate reader, LPR licenses and hardware. Chief.
Comes to me. Thank you, Madam Mayor, City Councilors. This has been quite the project over the last couple, year and a half, 2 years, 3 years. I don't even know how long. 2 years. And the project started at a whopping $500,000, which was as we all would say in this room, unacceptable. And we worked pretty hard. Andy Phelps, I'm going to give a lot of credit to city manager. Adam Brown did a lot of work on this. Andy Phelps did a lot of work on this. Chris Nelson's done a lot of work on this. Arsen Avedizen has done a lot of work on this. So it's kind of, I'm probably leaving Bill Hopkins. I'm probably leaving somebody else out. But there was a group of individuals that really worked way too much on going a different direction and then ending up here. So I'm happy to report that 16 cameras going throughout the city will cost the city $65,467.80 for the next 5 years. It's a 5-year contract with record scouting license being $2,700 after that. Well, it'll probably go up in 5 years, but that will be a annual cost after 5 years. It's just that licensing. But we're paying it upfront through this contract. And so, like I said, it's good for 5 years. All the installations will be done by our own folks. And so it'll just be labor costs, won't be any additional costs. We have an agreement with Salem, the city of Salem, to use their traffic light poles for the cameras, which, again, that was not an option when we began the project. And through conversations, it became an option, and as of January, actually. And so, happy to report, getting cameras, ready to install, ready to order the product. Do you have questions? You want me to go over the staff report, or I could read it word for word, but we recommend that you give him the authorization to purchase these wonderful cameras.
All right, thank you very much. I'll go to Council President Starr and then Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm not sure, I think this will probably go to Mr. Brown or maybe Mr. Lindsay, but do we have it in writing in an intergovernmental agreement with Salem that it will not cost us and they can't change their mind to charge us at any point in time?
I might be able to answer that briefly, real quick. I have an email from Deputy Chief Aguilar giving us permission to use them and not to charge us. However, that is not a binding agreement.
I would love a binding agreement.
Those, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Lawyer, but the light poles are our light poles. They maintain them for us by contract. But am I wrong, Mr. Lawyer?
No, we own the traffic signals.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Okay.
All the components we own, but they are constructed, inspected, and maintained to the City of Salem standards by the City of Salem staff. I don't want to make them mad and have them tell us we're not going to do that anymore. I don't think that's in jeopardy in this case. I really don't.
Really?
Yeah, I really don't. In the beginning of the discussion of these cameras, it was a hard no. You can't put them on the signal poles. And in the 2 years that this has gone on, that hard no has changed to, well, sure, we can work with you on that.
Yeah, and sometimes no's change to we're gonna charge you.
I have not been in those discussions. I can't speak to that whatsoever.
Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. Yeah, there's other things we're working on, but I will say that the new Public Works Director has changed and been more open to doing some things like the box wraps that previously had been told no, which are the city's boxes, the traffic control boxes, and these light poles are our light poles. And so as far as the Public Works Department, and this, I would also draw attention that this is a collaboration between Marion County Sheriff's Department and the City of Salem PD and Keizer Police Department, and that does not negate other projects that may be going backwards, but this one's in a positive direction.
Just asking.
Yep.
But as a follow-up, in the conversation with the City of Salem, make sure that there's a written record of the collaboration between our 3 jurisdictions in regards to this project, and the placement of these on these facilities would be very helpful. Just so we have a electronic paper trail, if you will. And I think that's what I'm hearing from council, is that we would highly recommend that for clarity for all parties. Did I state that accurately, council members?
Yes, thank
Okay.
you, Madam Mayor.
All right, thank you very much, appreciate that. Anything further on this project? Councilor Reed?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So, is there, in this system, a, plan for data collection? If we're looking in 5 years to renew the contractor, do we have data points that are planned? Do we have the mechanisms, to collect that data? Just looking down the line for when we, are ready to renew this, this contract, particularly if it's going to be a yearly thing and if it's likely to go up.
Yes, there's going to be a robust data collection system that's all retrievable. Once we pull the data off, when we use it for an investigation, we get assigned a case number, we can access that through the website that we're being granted. Is that what you're asking?
I guess to, to just decide ahead of time what data points are going to be useful, so you're not just, sorting through a bunch of data, at the end of 5 years and trying to figure out what you want. So if we have a plan to figure out which pictures turn into investigations or that's your specialty, but just deciding which data points ahead of time so that we are planning for that.
Yeah, I think early on in the conversation was, is it going to save us time on investigations? And I think that's one of the main ones we're going to capture, is each time that we're able to identify a suspect faster than we would have before, we can identify those. Also tracking vehicles throughout the city, locating stolen vehicles within our city. All that stuff will be captured. And there will be some type of Excel file at the end of the day. This will all be exported to, we can sift through it. So, yeah.
It just seems to be that would be a good thing to establish now rather than try and sift through all of that later.
Absolutely agree.
And I think with the idea that when we're looking at this in 5 years, has it performed to the level that we and our partners have wanted it to? So the questions can then go out in the next RFP. So, and I think that's pretty much, that's what I hear we're asking, is make sure we're ready for that, that ask in 5 years. Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to express my appreciation for the staff that spent so much time on this project, and not just on this project, but also the park cameras and the body camera work as well over the last, I think, 2 years to be exact. So thank you to everyone for that.
Madam Mayor?
Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. I also just wanted to make sure, I think Councilor Starr captured it for me, but this is like one leg of a three-pronged stool. This is the license plate readers on the light poles, the other two legs of the stool being the body cameras, and then the parks cameras to help stop our graffiti. And so that original $500,000 number wasn't just for LPRs, but it was for the three legs, which are coming in short order. So.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the effort put into making sure we're getting the quality and integrity of these three systems that we have needed for a very, very long time. People have been asking for cameras in the parks for many, many years. And this is something that I am very proud that we can finally deliver for the people in our community. Thank you all for the work done on this project. Anything further? Council President Starr?
I move the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R2024, authorizing the city manager to purchase license plate reader, LPR, licenses and hardware.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2024, authorizing the city manager to purchase license plate reader, LPR licenses and hardware. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent, that is Hussman. Thank you all very much for the work on this project. That takes us to item 8D, which is the resolution authorizing the city manager to sign option to purchase letter of intent, Keizer Station Area A. Mr. Brown.
I am the fortunate one to be able to speak to this, and I think I enjoy and be able to announce this with the rest of you, we have a purchase option agreement on the table for a company known as Cordelia Power to purchase the property north of the Bonneville Power Station. And the intent that they have for that 7-acre parcel is to build a, what's called a slow battery station, which will save up power and from the power station and make our community more sustainable if there was a loss of power. This will bring a significant amount of tax revenue to the city for their improvements. It's not a huge job creator, but there is a lot of public or improvements that will, to the property, that will have a nice tax base for the city. It's a 5-year period because the land has to be explored through the Department of Environmental Quality, the state DEQ, and make sure they go through all their permitting applications. But we are one of just a few projects in North America that Cordelia Power is starting on this slow battery concept. Their first one was in Chicago, Illinois. They're a company that has a pretty strong backing with the Canadian pension system. And so we are recommended the council approve this purchase option for 5 years. At the end of the 5-year period, assuming they have all the approvals to move forward, then they would pay us a lump sum payment. In the interim, they'll start with the annual payment option of $15,000. The second year will go up to 20, 25, 30, and 35 for the 5-year period. So the lease money or that 5-year option money will not go towards the price of the purchase. The price of the purchase will be separate. So we're recommending approval.
Madam Mayor?
Mr. Lindsay.
If I could add just one thing, which is, this is actually just a letter of intent right now. And so if you give permission for this letter of intent to go forward 90 days, within 90 days, we're supposed to actually come back with the actual purchase option. So there's going to be 2 stages, so you'll see it again within 3 months if you do approve it today.
Thank you very much for the clarification. We appreciate that. Any questions from council on this letter of intent? Council President Starr.
I move that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R2024, authorizing city manager to sign option to purchase letter of intent for Keizer Station Area A.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2024, authorizing city manager to sign option to purchase letter of intent, Keizer Station Area A. Any discussion? I want to thank Mr. Brown, Mr. Lindsay, all the staff members who have been involved in this conversation. This is a great step forward for these city-owned properties in the Area A section of Keizer Station. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with 1 absent, that is Councilor Hussman. We look forward to seeing this in the next 90 days. Finally, item 8E, which is an ordinance establishing a franchise agreement with Ziply Fiber Pacific LLC for the provision of telecommunications services within the city of Keizer. And this goes to
I can
Mr. Lindsay.
speak to this, thank you. And I spoke to this on March 18th, so your last regular meeting. And so did Jessica Epley. She came in and she works for Ziply and kind of announced what their plans were if you guys were so inclined to give them this franchise agreement. It's for telecommunications. And so it sounds a little, I guess, interesting to all of us in the land of wireless and broadband and all those things to have people coming in to do telecommunications work, but it's still, you know, a solid business model. It also, they sounded like they were very interested in putting higher end infrastructure into the town, which is always nice. And of course, there's a 7%, it's the state's maximum allowable percentage for their gross revenues for this. I will say this as well, as the FCC has been entertaining adding broadband service definition, or to the definition of telecommunications services. So in the long run, this might actually encapture more than just telephone services. So if the FCC is so inclined, we might get lucky and get more services out of this as well.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions on the franchise agreement? Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the Keizer City Council adopt ordinance 2024, establishing a franchise agreement with Ziply Fiber Pacific LLC for the provision of telecommunications services within the city of Keizer.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt ordinance 2024, establishing a franchise agreement with Ziply Fiber Pacific LLC for the provision of telecommunications services within the city of Keizer. Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent, that is Hussman. And thank you again for all the work that's gone into this, for bringing another new business to Keizer. Council President Starr, would you please read the items on tonight's consent calendar?
Absolutely. Our consent calendar contains items A, Police Department Community Service Petty Cash Fund Report. Item B, resolution authorizing the city manager to sign agreement for purchase and installation of telemetry system upgrade fiscal year 23-24. Item C, approval of February 15th, 2024 City Council, Salem City Council, and Marion County Commissioners meeting. Item D, approval of March 11th, 2024 Joint City Council and Community Diversity Engagement Committee work session minutes. And item E, approval of March 18th, 2024 City Council regular session minutes.
Thank you very much. Are there any polls? Seeing none, Council President Starr.
I move that the Keizer City Council adopt the consent calendar as read.
Second?
The consent calendar has been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent, that is Hussman. Thank you all very much. We will now go to other business. This time is provided, what did I miss?
Nothing but, I'd like
Okay.
to make a comment on one of those.
On one of the, on the
Consent calendar.
consent calendar. Okay. Go ahead, Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Police Department Community Petty Cash Fund, I would appreciate it if you guys would go ahead and send the receipts in once in a while, because the amount that's budgeted for that and the amount that you guys do not actually equal. And just want to recognize the work that our police department does by helping a lot of people that they do not actually send any reimbursement for.
Chief?
Thank you for that. We do have a lot of officers just pay out of pocket for things, so that gets around the paper trail.
Yeah, we try to make it as easy as possible, and it's our way of saying we recognize that y'all do that because you are very good-hearted people, and we want to make it possible without a financial burden as well. So please pass on that message. I absolutely concur with Councilor Kohler on this.
Will do.
All right, thank you. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. All right, other business. This time is provided to allow the mayor, city council members, or staff an opportunity to bring new or old matters before the council that are not on tonight's agenda. Mr. Brown, does the staff have anything this evening, other business?
Yes, Madam Mayor and Council, I wanted to talk to you about the City Hall expansion project. We received bids in last week, or the week before last, for $575,000 was the low bid. The bids were pretty tight in around the $600,000 mark, of course with a few outliers, but with a lot of factors that are going on right now in the city, one being the PERS pension retiree thing that we're going to have probably a large obligation for, and then other opportunities that have presented themselves that we can't make public yet. But for a number of factors, we are recommending that we not go forward with the community center, event center expansion unless I hear differently from the council about that project.
All right. Thank you. Is there anybody who wants that project to go forward and to go further with the bids that have been received? The council concurs with the staff recommendation to not move forward with the project. All right. Thank you very much.
That's all the business I have.
All right, thank you. Council, anything further? All right, then we will go to staff updates. Mr. Brown?
I have no more, well, I just enjoyed being at the groundbreaking with all of you, and it was such a great turnout. I got the pictures that I want to share with all of you so you can share on your whatever social media channels you want, and so I just got access to those today, and a great story and great coverage by the Keizer Times, but super thrilled that our, not only you, but our county and our committee members and the Chamber of Commerce business members showed up for that groundbreaking. So thanks a lot.
All right, and I'd like to say thank you for those mementos that you created. Those little shovels with the leather tags and everything, those were a huge hit. And really appreciated you taking the time to create those as well. And it fits much better in my home office than another big shovel. So looking forward to that. I was down at the park today with my granddaughter, and she was absolutely intrigued with all of the big machinery moving around. And one of the machinery operators stopped and waved and honked at her and stuff. And she's just like, ooh, that was so cool. So really appreciate all that's gone into this. We look forward to getting those fields in use. Thank you. Mr. Wood.
Nothing additional from me, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I'm sure you're busier than busy getting ready for budget. Ms. Bissett.
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Thank you. Chief.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just want to announce that we have 3 open recruitments right now. One for lateral police officer, one for just a new recruit officer, and for reserve. So please, we're going to go and just a little bit something we're doing a little bit different. Actually, Sergeant Quintero created a wonderful flyer we're going to throw onto Facebook, so you'll be able to see that. And then we're going to take that around to colleges. So I'm meeting with Corbin, hearing back tomorrow, maybe this week. Then we're going to go out to Western Oregon with this brochure flyer, has a QR code on it, you know, trying to move forward and hit that graduating population. See if we can get some new recruits from there. So, fun.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Mr. Lawyer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. A couple things for you tonight. Last meeting, I mentioned struggles trying to get the rapid flashing beacon built at McClure and Lock Haven this summer while school's out. In conversation with our engineers, I think we have a path forward. I'm about 80% sure we can make it reality. Basically, we're going to order the equipment. The city's going to order the equipment now for a July 1 delivery date. We'll hand it to the contractor, they install it. Looks like the estimates are going to be under $100,000 completely, so gives me the opportunity to do informal pricing or informal bidding, shortens that process. So again, I'm about 80% sure we're going to be able to make it happen this summer. The other thing is you may have noticed some cones out in the parking lot tonight when you came in. There's something missing out there temporarily. It's the ballot box. Working with the county clerk's office to put in a larger ballot box because apparently this is a very, very popular place for dropping off ballots. And so we removed the old one today, and we'll be setting a new one, I think, yet this week, pouring some concrete and get the new one set so it's ready for the May primaries. That's all I have.
There we go, leading the way again. That's fantastic. We were the first ones to get one, and now we need a bigger one. I love it. And thank you. I had confidence that you would find a way to make that happen at McClure. Just, I had a feeling. Thank you so much for really, pushing it to get that done. You know that's important to our community, especially for the Keizer Elementary community. So thank you. Mr. Witham.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a couple things. I wanted to give you a little brief update on some of our CFAC work, the climate-friendly and equitable communities rules work. It's a lot. That's why we say CFAC. But as y'all know, we've started the process for the scenario planning, and I don't know if it was last council meeting, their meeting before, let you know, and you authorize a city manager to sign so we could get some money back for some of that work that we're doing. So just kind of wanted to give you an update that that work is continuing to move forward. I have a follow-up meeting with the project management team this next week as they're working on some of the messaging we're gonna be using on our website and brochures as we move forward in that work. The other thing I wanted to let you know, it's been a while back, but we had to do some work previously about climate-friendly areas or walkable mixed-use areas. And if you remember, we did a study. The Council of Governments helped us with the data and with analysis. And I just got a letter from DLCD on Friday. We had to submit our study by the end of 2023. So I'd sent that off to them in December, all the documents compiled. And I just got a letter back from that said, essentially, the Shane Witham paraphrase is, good job. So that was good. We didn't get negative comments. So the work that we did is pacified the rules. And then just one other thing, we have a couple of subdivisions coming up with public hearings that have been scheduled that have piqued quite a bit of neighborhood interest. So you may hear about some of those things. Obviously, subdivisions go to our hearings officer for a hearing. Depending on how those decisions work and future appeals, there could be things that you would be involved with as a decision maker. So if you have questions, if people ask you questions, I would encourage you maybe just reach out to me and I can fill you in on things as a staff person. But both of these subdivisions, the applicants are proposing middle housing products, which tend to not be the most popular in our established neighborhoods. So I just wanted to give you a heads up in case you get, waylaid in the grocery aisle. So, thanks.
So unless you want to be declaring ex parte contacts, if people do try to engage with you on these, please let them know that that is not something that you can do because we will be, if there is an appeal, we are going to be in that quasi-judicial role. So great reminder for us. We're going to have, that's one of the benefits, perhaps, of seeing more construction, more opportunities for development coming to Keizer. So we just have to be cognizant of that. Good times. Mr. Lindsay.
Thank you. Just on a personal note, I had a wonderful Easter. I hope everybody here had a wonderful Easter. If your ears were burning on Easter, it's because when my family asked me, how's my new job doing? I got to say, these guys are actually great. They're conscientious and even a little funny. And then our staff always seems to somehow bring goodies and food almost every day to our kitchen. It's pretty amazing. So I don't know. I'm having a good time. I hope your ears were burning in a good way on Easter. And I'll be probably bringing you on another side of the CFEC aisle some discussions, probably in a couple weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much. And now I know why my ears are burning. Appreciate that and appreciate you being part of the team. Let's go to council member reports. Councilor Cross.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Let's see, since our last council meeting, I've attended the Salem Chamber Women's Lunch. They had a great panel. The Salem State of the City, Garden Services, a Seat for Everywhere luncheon. Food for Thought was great last week at the Rec. Keizer Fire Foundation, there's some fun stuff coming up there. And Good Friday prayer breakfast for the YMCA, along with touring Peter Courtney Place afterwards, and then the Vietnam Veterans Memorial groundbreaking at the Capitol, which is going to be amazing, and I can't wait to see all that come to life. There we go.
That's it. Thank you much. If you don't mind, before I go to Councilor Duran, I actually brought information on the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. So I'm going to leave some of these packets here. The fundraising is still underway. It was a wonderful event. And more importantly, it was wonderful recognition of our Vietnam veterans here in Oregon, that this memorial is long overdue and is very, very important for our community, for the healing of our veterans, and so that we remember in a very respectful and meaningful way. So I will leave some of these here. The information is at www.ocvvm.com. so you can learn more about the Vietnam Veterans Memorial at the Oregon Capitol. So thank you for bringing that up. Appreciate that. Counselor Duran.
Other than the turf field groundbreaking, that was all I did in the last couple weeks because I was gone most of the time. So that was a good event, and I do appreciate the little mementos. I have the little shovel hung up on my wall, and it doesn't take up a whole lot of space. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Council President Starr.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I am grateful that the weather held off for the groundbreaking. Just a little nervous about that. So wonderful event there. State of the City address in the evening with our neighborhood associations. And then the community dinner was on the cleanup crew with Chief Copeland. It was sponsored by Keizer Rotary this year. So thank you to that.
All right. Thank you very much. Councilor Kohler.
Thank you very much. I want to thank Northwest Keizer Neighborhood Association for heading up the State of the City meeting that we had in conjunction with the others, but they kind of took charge of it. I appreciate that. We already talked about the shovels. I'm going to have a hard time gardening with that, but we'll work on it. And I appreciated going to the council agenda conference this week. It was very helpful for me to understand what was going on, and it was great. And we fed about 200 people at the Keizer Community Dinner. And again, wanted to thank Keizer Rotary for coming and taking care of that. And Keizer United is looking to become a part of the Salem Leadership Foundation. Look forward to that soon.
All right. Thank you very much. More information on the Keizer United and Salem Leadership would be really helpful as that it develops. So let's have a conversation about how we can learn more about those changes that seem to be in the works. All right, thank you very much. Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So the Keizer Homegrown Theater is going to be putting on a play called Silent Sky, April 12th through the 28th. And that's basically about, it's inspired by the first, or one of the first women astronomers. So it should be pretty interesting. And so see their website if you are interested in going to that. I attended the Mid-Willamette Valley Community Action Agency Board meeting last week. And one of the exciting events happening through that organization is the opening of David's House, which is a youth shelter in Monmouth, but it serves our area and is again a testament to the excellent collaboration of our local partners for that. And so I'm really excited to see that up and running.
So important.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely. We have a Greater Northeast Keizer Neighbors Association meeting coming up tomorrow. And on Thursday, there is a Meet McNary, which is an evening for the incoming freshmen to come visit McNary and see what they're in for. And that is at 6 p.m. if anybody has incoming freshmen. Also at 6 p.m. on Thursday is the Community Diversity Engagement Committee. So I need to split myself and I'm unable to, so I will not be able to go to that meeting, but Councilor Starr will represent us well. If I were mayor contest is coming, the entries are in and we as a council are doing our part in evaluating them and just excited to see the level of participation, particularly at the elementary level. Clear Lake Elementary School in particular did a really good job getting that word out and got some good entries from them. So, and then I just wanted to clarify on our discussion earlier for the Arts Commission. One thing that wasn't mentioned, because I didn't happen to think of it until later, was that this conversation about the barcodes and the links and so forth came up because the Keizer Community Foundation was, I'm going to say, taking the initiative to provide signage for the different art, and you know that's And I agree, we absolutely need to figure this out, but I will be contacting the community foundation and letting them know not to make any purchases before we clarify this, so. But anyway, you know, that's one thing that if we say, you know, we don't want this to go to your web, because nothing's on either website, either the city website or the Keizer Community Foundation at this point. There are a few pictures on both of them, but nothing, if you type in public art, even on the Keizer website, there's nothing there, and there are no links on the Community Foundation website. So anyway, all of that is still yet to be determined, and we have to figure those out. So I won't be contacting them to make sure that they don't go purchasing those before we figure that out. So anyway, just wanted to kind of close that conversation.
Yeah, absolutely, because I know we had a brochure with all of the art on it before, so I know it's around here somewhere, and I think I've got a copy in one of my files at home. I know, paper, what a thought. But thank you for following up on that, appreciate it. Just a couple of things to wrap up with.
Mr. Lindsay.
Oh, Mr. Lindsay.
I'm sorry, I forgot to ask you this in my staff report, which is, there's a bar training on the 26th of April. It's a one-day training. It's $200 or less, depending on if I'm still a member of the local government section, but it's on all the changes in local government. And so I think it would be a valuable thing for me to go do. If I get your blessing, I'll go to it on Friday, April 26th.
I don't think anybody objects to our city attorney saying up on all things city.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, keeping us out of trouble is, not just us personally, but keep our city on the right track. Anybody have a heartburn with that? I didn't think so. Okay.
Cool, thank you.
All right, thank you. Just a couple of things to add. Thank you again to the neighborhood associations for hosting the State of the City Community Conversation. I enjoy that very much. Having everybody together, there's a great synergy and conversation that happens. So, and also appreciate, it all happens one meeting instead of 6 or 5. So I do appreciate that. The Coffee with Kathy March edition was broadcast on March 23rd. It's now on KeizerTV.com. And again, I appreciate the Jamaica Community College Board of Education, the La Luz de Valle Church with Pastor Dominguez, RJ Navarro from Chariots, and the Chamber of Commerce wasn't able to join us this time. They generally are on the program. And I missed, Keizer Fire District and the Keizer Community Library. So chock full of information. Encourage people to go and watch the program or check out one of the reels with a lot of the flyers that were talked about during that program. The work for the League of Oregon Cities policy committees is now underway. I'm on transportation and I'm also on community and economic development. So actually I'm chairing that one this year. So this is working with cities across Oregon, getting ready for the 2025 legislative session, because we all know that if we aren't ready with setting the table, we're going to definitely be on the menu. So we want to make sure we're ready for what's coming down in 2025 to help our cities. On Saturday night, it was my pleasure to join the Keizer Fire District Board of Directors and the Keizer Fire District members with their awards banquet and promotion ceremony. And just want to highlight that they honored their firefighter, volunteer, EMT, Employee of the Year, Rookie of the Year, and Chiefs Award. I don't have those names. That's on their website. Look at their social media. But I do want to call out the promotions. They had 5 promotions that evening, which is a big number for that many people promoting up in one year. Engineer Justin Endicott, for Captain Andrew Alderson and Theodore McClung. And I want to highlight here, Battalion Chief, Rachel Brozovich and Christina Wilson, 2 women promoted at the same time to Battalion Chief at Keizer Fire District. Way to go, way to put an exclamation point at the end of Women's History Month. Truly, 2 women making history. Congratulations to all on their promotions and to the forward-thinking leadership at Keizer Fire District, one of our 2 partners for fire protection in Keizer. Appreciate that very much. Coming up, we've got tons of stuff happening. I think many of us will be at the State of the County address on Wednesday. We've got on Friday night, the Hop Lee historical presentation at the Keizer Cultural Center. I think a bunch of us are going to be at this Rotary thing, you know, Keizer Rotary. Oh yeah, they do a whole lot for the community, and their annual fundraiser is Saturday night. And the next week I will be on KBZY radio for the monthly broadcast with our community. And I've been asked to be a presenter at the West Keizer Neighbors Association on the 11th. Also want to highlight, I've been invited to and we all are invited to the ribbon cutting for Lupe's House, which is a sober living home for women who are waiting space in a treatment program that is going to be opening on April 12th. And it's just about halfway down River Road, near a couple of little strip malls in there, but there are some houses further back, and this house has been rehabbed, and it's going to be fantastic for women in our community on a road to addiction treatment and future success. So thank you to the folks bringing Lupe's House to us in Keizer. That is all I have. Agenda input on next Monday, as I mentioned, we will meet at 6 p.m. in a work session with our neighbors associations. On April 16th at 7 p.m., we will meet in regular session. On April 29th, yes, we actually get a night off. We will meet in a work session covering two topics, the draft of the procurement policy led by our esteemed city attorney, Mr. Lindsay, and then our reviewing the next iteration of the neighborhood traffic management program with our traffic safety bikeways committee under the leadership of Tammy Saldivar. And then we'll meet on May 6th in regular session, and you all got the notification for the budget committee meetings, so mark your calendars for that. And that will be in May. That is all I have. Is there anything else for the good of the order? All right. It is 8:59 and we are adjourned.